What's happening, huntsmen and huntresses out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm coming at you with a review of the final episode of Rwby Volume 7. This time it's episode 13, titled The Enemy of Trust. And the answer to that is fear. It's when we give in to our fears, our doubts, that's when we start to kind of feel like you can't trust anyone, not even yourself. And we see a lot of that in this episode. And it's going to have a lot of repercussions going forward. Not just this episode, but as this volume going forward, this season. As our Team Junior, John's team, and Oscar stand against Neapolitan, and they try to capture her for the most part. She manages to give them the slip with one of her illusions, but they have no time to ponder where she went, as they are soon cornered by Atlas forces and have no choice but to run. Meanwhile, the fight between Penny and Winter against Cinder over the power of the Winter Maiden is in full effect, with Cinder managing to deal with Penny quite handily, sword fighting with Winter, and just completely dominating the both of them because of her sheer power, to the point where she actually manages to just send them all just crashing out a wall, just flying off into the night. And while Winter is able to free herself by stabbing into Cinder's hand, Penny has to contend with a lot of fiery weaponry. But then it becomes an aerial battle with Penny and her jets, Cinder doing basically the Iron Man thing with just fire just bursting out of her feet and her hands, and Winter is commanding an ice chimera to fly around. But this is to no avail, as Cinder's able to down the ice chimera, and with a well placed shot is able to blast away Winter's shield, sending her plummeting, leaving Penny with a choice: go after Cinder or go after Winter. And naturally, knowing who Penny is, with everything that we have come to know about Penny, naturally her choice is Winter, despite Winter's protest that she is unimportant, as Penny believes that all life is important. That's the person that Penny has grown into. She values life. And ultimately, that was kind of what Ironwood was going for. He wanted a protector with a soul, and that's what Penny is: someone who protects, someone who has a soul, someone who has a heart. Honestly, more of a heart than most people in this season, although that's not quite fair. A lot of them are trying their best. It's just that, oh, fear makes you make some pretty bad choices. So, as John's team do their best to escape, unfortunately Oscar starts to fall behind before he ultimately ends up losing John and the others completely, only to be taken to the side by Nora. But this is not Nora. This is Neapolitan in disguise, who manages to get away with the relic. And she manages to get around Jean as well as Ren, using the appearance of Nora to just completely take him off guard, something that Ren really gets shooken up by. And she also manages to disguise herself as an official, hiding behind some Atlas forces, leaving John and the team with no choice but to retreat as she makes off with the relic. Meanwhile, Cinder goes after the Winter Maiden, only for the Winter Maiden, who's Freya. I think Freya is her name. And she's actually able to fend off Cinder only because while she does have some memory problems, I think she's going through Alzheimer's actually at this point, certain things she does remember: her duty. Her duty to protect the power of the Winter Maiden. And she was hiding in this chamber all the time to transfer the power and all of that, which would cause her the pass, but ultimately she's able to fend off Cinder to some degree, basically just unleashing the full extent of her power. Because, as Winter states, she is a fully realized maiden. The power has fully incorporated into her, so she's able to unleash its full capacity. But unfortunately, because of that, Winter can't get close. But Penny can, who jumps into the icy vortex. Meanwhile, Oscar is down on himself because he lost the relic. And while Jean tries his best to, comfort Oscar to some degree, Ren isn't having it. He's completely distraught. They've lost the relic. Salem is on her way. They're probably about to lose the power of the Winter Maiden. He's at a loss. He's completely distraught over everything that has happened up to this point. But they find that they're able to get their communications back online thanks to Pietro, as Maria has managed to secure them a getaway vehicle and is questioning where they are. And while John and the others manage to hunker down in the training room, they find that Oscar has left, with him having one last thing he wants to do, at least try, before he leaves. And as Penny confronts Freya, the Winter Maiden, she states that she does understand. While she doesn't remember a lot, she does understand a few things. That she is the Winter Maiden, she needs to protect her power, and she needs to hand that power over to someone else, and that her life will come to an end as a result of that. And she's basically made peace with all of that. And she even questions if Penny is the one who will receive her power. Meanwhile, Oscar confronts Ironwood over this whole situation, begging him to reconsider everything. It's obvious that Ironwood, was still looking towards Ozpin for some form of guidance, but, still Oscar. And Oscar tries his best to reason with Ironwood that he shouldn't give in to his fear the way that he is, that's causing more trouble than anything else. That if he would just rely on other people, that would help everyone, everything. But Ironwood's having none of it, feeling that all of his fears ultimately were founded. Salem is on her way. They need to get the power of the Winter Maiden. The relics are in danger. They have no choice but to take who they can and rise into the skies in order to protect themselves. But, Oscar tells them it's just like, look, with the way you're going, the way you're doing things, it's making you no better than Salem. And Ironwood agrees, shooting Oscar, causing his, energy shield to break, leaving him to plummet. Ironwood has fully taken on the role of a villain, accepting that this is the only way to protect as many people as he can. Ugh, what a chilling moment. What a sad moment. Meanwhile, Cinder managed to get to Penny and Freya, the Winter Maiden, only for Winter to come in, slicing off Cinder's grim hand, only for it to grow back and cause Cinder to grow exponentially more pissed, going on the attack against Winter, completely devastating her, as she doesn't notice that the Winter Maiden has started to transfer her powers over to none other than Penny. Now, I would have questioned this, but we see that is a transfer of aura, basically. And that's how the powers are transferred over. And so it's transferred over to Penny's aura, which, she gained from her dad. And that really does explain that aura is a form of life energy. And, Pietro was giving his life to Penny, which has been able to cause the ability for her to grow and learn and have this sense of morality because she is her own person. Aura is power. You know, and she has that aura. That aura is powered by life. She has life within her, and it's because of this that Freya is able to transfer her power over to Penny. Meanwhile, Oscar continues to fall, but is luckily awakened by Ozpin by the last minute, who tells Oscar to go after the cane, which would hopefully help him out in this situation. So as Cinder manages to completely down Winter, and Oscar activates something within the cane, Penny awakens the power of the Winter Maiden, just as Weiss and Rwby arrive on the scene, with with Rwby immediately activating her silver eyes the moment she sees Cinder. And as Oscar activates something that causes his powers to awaken, helping him to break through the bottom of the shaft, plummeting all the way down to Mantle, we see that Cinder has managed to escape in the confusion, with Winter questioning not just Weiss but everyone about what they've done, the havoc that they've basically managed to cause. But Penny's unconcerned about that. She laments the loss of Freya, the loss of the Winter Maiden, as she finds all life to be sacred. But Winter says that, you know, Freya isn't lost. She has become a part of Penny. We then cut over to Crow, who is just still kind of mourning the loss of Clover. And then we cut over to Cinder, who is livid over not being able to attain the power of the Winter Maiden. As Jean and his team manage to board the getaway vehicle, they have no choice but to recount the fact that they've lost both Oscar and the relic. Crow has Clover's little emblem piece, and he's just completely devastated, being comforted by Robin, both of them being arrested and being carried away. And Winter tells Rwby, Weiss, Penny to give themselves over to Ironwood, to not fight any of this. But Weiss says they can't do that. And Winter tells him, then fine, I'm giving you a head start then. As she calls in a medical team for herself, because she's been beaten to shit, and reinforcements to capture their enemies. And Weiss fully realizes that she and her sister are no longer on the same side. That great camaraderie they had over all of this season, ultimately, almost for nothing. That's the real tragedy of this moment. And as the getaway vehicle arrives, Rwby tells Penny to come with them. And as they leave, you see Winter kind of lament everything that's going on. Does she have doubts about everything that has happened here? I can only hope. Rwby and Weiss do their best to comfort Penny. Neo hands over the relic to Cinder, who is completely ungrateful for her contribution. Cinder failed in her mission, but Neo managed to pass with flying colors, and she gets pretty pissed when Cinder doesn't even thank her for what she did. And Ironwood, speaking of pissed, Ironwood, the moment he realizes that the power of the Winter Maiden is gone, he loses it. And while Arthur, sitting in his cell, smiles as he notices something on the horizon, dark clouds coming in. We see the power of Oscar in full bloom, a nice little shield, a barrier, that helps him to land safely. And he communicates with Ozpin, questioning what to do next to protect Atlas. And as we cut to a shot that's very reminiscent of the way we open this volume, with them flying away from Atlas. Geez, we opened in the same way we began, but with a lot of things very different now. They start to hear a communication broadcast that there are multiple hostiles incoming, and one that the communication tower can't wrap their head around, as a massive figure, a whale-like Grim, a whale-like flying Grim, flies through the clouds, and at the very top, Salem. And that ends the episode. Our heroes are in an exponentially worse place than when they started. Yes, they've gained allies, but they have gained and lost just as much as when they first got here. It's another unfortunate moment, because it seems like whenever they get to a kingdom, whenever they come in and then leave, it's things are a lot worse off than when it started. There's so much infighting, so much of a lack of trust, especially coming from Ren. If anything, I feel that if given a chance, Ren would have sided with the Ace Ops. It was pretty obvious that he and Nora aren't seeing eye to eye on this whole situation. And I'm wondering, at what point is that going to come to a head? What about Penny gaining the power of the Winter Maiden? That's incredible. You know, you know, we have the Winter. I think the Summer Maiden. Was it the Fall Maiden? You know, Ice has gone to Penny. Fire has gone to Cinder. Wind, I think, was given to Yang's mom. I'm having trouble kind of keeping up with it because the powers don't completely correlate with the way that I feel that it should. But we just have one maiden that we haven't seen just yet, and got a question. Is she off in vacuo? Is that what it is? It really makes me wonder. But what an intense season! The team has really done wonders. And one thing to talk about: this this ends with a tribute to Monty Ohm, as this aired at the 5 year anniversary of the death of Monty, and he's still someone who I completely just I still continue to just be sad that he's no longer here, that he's no longer in the picture. He completely just didn't he wasn't able to see this through to the end, and that's the real tragedy of it all. I would have been so happy to have, seen, him just be able to see this through. He worked so hard. He did so much. He did as much as he could to see things through. Uh, it's a shame. It really is a shame. There we go. So, the Fall Maiden was the one with the fire powers, and that's the power that Cinder had. Raven, Yang's mother, has the power of the Spring Maiden, which gives her lightning powers, I think, and I think that's her whole thing. And we have the Winter Maiden, which is now Penny, who has ice powers. So I'm kind of wondering, I wonder what the final Maiden's power is. We have fall, spring, winter. What is the Summer Maiden's power? It really does kind of make me wonder. Was it, because I'm surprised that it wasn't ultimately fire power, that it wasn't something like that. But I'm wondering what's going to happen now. What's going to happen to Atlas? What's going to happen to the people? What's going to happen to Mantle? Is that what the next volume is all about? Defending Mantle from the Grim because they basically been left to die, more or less? Uh, Jeez, it's only a matter of time. But, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How did you feel about this finale? Did you feel that ultimately, Ironwood made the wrong choices? That he should have listened to Oscar? What side of things would you be on in the end? Are you on the side of save who you can and let the rest perish? Or are you on the side of saving as many people as you possibly can? Doing your best, even if that possibly means losing your life. I want to hear everything you have to say and more about this volume in the comment section below. If you liked this video, leave me a like. If you didn't, feel free to leave me a dislike and subscribe and hit the bell icon. That way you never miss out on another Rwby volume, season, episode review, because I'll be coming back again with volume 8. Until then, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.